We're back in Little Cup today using a pretty broken core of Gastly Shellder. And for the first game, our opponent has a very interesting squad. They have Voltorb, which is a little bit scary. It's very fast, and we don't have a Scarfer on this team. We also have Dratini, which is very scary. Dratini runs usually Waterfall, Extreme Speed, Dragon Dance, and then Rest, I think, is the last move. That way I can get a Shed Skin off. In order to not lose to Dratini, you would think I would need to keep Gastly, but actually it dies to Waterfall. And Will-O-Wisp doesn't really help it because of Shed Skin, so actually Pawniard is the thing I need to keep. Pawniard also really helps against Venonat. Even though Venonat has Tinted Lens, you can't Tinted Lens an immunity. Alright, I think I'm going to lead off with my Diglett. Diglett is a good first speed tag against Voltorb, and that's about it. If I can trap the Toedscool as well, I will take it, and if I can Rock Blast the Venonat, I will take that. Of course, I can trap the Growlithe and their own Diglett. So just as a lead, it's pretty good. We're leading off. Our Diglett today is just the Diglett I've been using for the past few times on this channel. The Earthquake, Rock Blast, Terror Blast, Terror Blast, Ice, and Protect. Protect, of course, for things like Nimble and Meowth. Protect is also really useful in a few other situations with Diglett. When you want to scout things, for example, against this Voltorb. If I'm base 20, if I have a 20 base speed, he has a 20 base speed, then what we need to do now is decide, is he going to Terastallize into Ice type and then hit me with Terra Ice? In which case, I have two options. Either one, I can switch out because I'm not trapped, and I can answer with something else. Or two, I can stay in and risk the speed tie and go for Rock Blast at that point. Or maybe they're not going to Terastallize, in which case now I can go for an Earthquake or Terastallize myself. Okay, they lead off with Dratini. I don't really want to stay in. I'm going to go hard Pawniard here. Now, I can actually go for the low sweep and lower their speed as they get a flinch, which is annoying. And so now at this point, they can't outspeed my Gastly. So I'm going to go for the low sweep again, because I don't want them to be able to outspeed my Gastly. That's the main thing. So now they're in range probably of Gastly. So I'm going to go into this, go for Sludge Bomb. And they can go into Toedscool, but I have Icy Wind for it. They can go Venonat, but that's okay as well. I lost my Pawniard, but my Pawniard was there specifically for Dratini. So I don't feel bad about that at all. At this point, I think I'm actually going to go for Icy Wind on Toedscool. A lot of times people don't run Icy Wind, they don't expect it. This Toedscool is very especially defensive. Now, fortunately, that means that they don't do very much with knockoff. I can just go for Icy Wind again. They don't really have anything that wants to come in on Icy Wind. Diglett, Voltorb will both become slower than Gastly, so that's not good. And technically, they could go into Growlithe, but I don't really feel like that's something that's opportune for them, because now I can just go for Sludge Bomb. I don't think I need to keep this around, because they got base 20, base 20. This gets trapped by... Okay. So they're not going to be faster than my Diglett unless that was Choice Scarf Flame Charge. And I can just... Earthquake. Technically, I could scout their Terastallization, but unless they were Terra Grass, that didn't matter. And if I had Protected there, then they would have been able to switch next turn, apparently. But also, I was more concerned about like a Morning Sun on my Protect. Alright. Now, Diglett versus Diglett is a bit unfortunate because I'm not a flying type. So we'll just have to go for the speed tie. Unfortunately, we win it. If we hadn't, it would have been okay because at that point I could have gone to my Shellder and Shell Smashed up. But this works just all the same. Now they go out into Venonat, and because they didn't bring out Venonat before, I'm pretty sure this is not Choice Scarfed. As we missed the Rock Blast, which is very unfortunate. Now Venonats are usually running physical, if I recall correctly. I haven't really faced too many Venonats, but we should be able to bulk up in front of this. They may Sleep Powder, and that's the only thing they can really do. They go for Agility. That's okay. Now you're bug poison, which means the drain punch doesn't do too much, so I gotta go for earthquake. As they actually are sleep powder. Agility, sleep powder, leech life, and poison fang or something. Yeah, okay. So at this point, we'll just sack this. Doesn't really need to live at this point. Right. Okay, Giga Drain. Venonat, I'm assuming you don't die to Ice Shard, so I need to go Strudel and hopefully dodge a Sleep Powder. Bit annoying that they dodged the Rock Blast, because I think they would have been really close to dying, if not dead. And that's actually really fortunate, because now you can see the Evilight's knocked off. I should be able to kill them with Ice Shard at this point. And I can tear a rock in front of the Voltorb. They've already terastallized, so their Toadschool will die to Ice Shard guaranteed. I'm just going to double check this Voltorb versus Shellder. What you don't want to do is terastallize into a rock type and then die anyway. Yeah, no, we should be fine. So I will terastallize and Shell Smash up. The Thunderbolt. They don't get the para, which is good. And now I have to decide a +2. Liquidation is a roll, so I've got to go for Rock Blast. Unfortunately, we don't miss. The funny thing is, because of static, which one is a better chance? Hitting and killing, and then risking a para, or and then getting a full para the next turn, or missing Rock Blast and then just losing that way. It is tough, but I think that Rock Blast was probably the best play in that instance. Alright, so that's game 1. Pretty scary team. Wasn't quite sure what my opponent wanted to do with it, and Dratini's always a decent threat. I think Venonat was the thing that most surprised me. Also is a mixed set with Giga Drain and Leech Life. Not sure how I feel about that. Maybe Giga Drain is for Mudbray. That would make sense. Alright, we found a game. Okay, so our opponent has a very weird team. This is probably Scarf Magnemite, Nimble doing Nimble things. Stunky's actually been rising in popularity with the rise of Gastly. I imagine that once Gastly is gone, the Stunky will probably drop off again. Stunky's not a bad Pokemon though, it has good speed tier, so I wouldn't be surprised if it stuck around to some extent. The Houndour could also be Scarf. Houndour has so many sets it can run. Skiddo is sort of annoying for my Diglett. I'm not sure how much Terra Blast Ice does for it. I think I am going to lead off with the Strudel though. I like to lead off with Strudel against Scarf Mag teams, because now I can stay in and click Knock Off. If they decide to stay in and go for Flash Cannon, predicting my Diglett, then they're no longer Choice Scarf. They go for Steel Beam, which works for me too. And so now I can go Pawniard here, and I will go for the Low Sweep, as they don't have anything that wants to switch into Low Sweep. And their Magnemite is dead. Now it's possible that they weren't Scarf on their Magnemite, and that I sacked a lot of health on my Pokemon for nothing, but that's okay, I think. I'm actually going to, I want to save my Pawniard. It does okay against things like Skiddo, so I probably want to switch this out. And Shellder is a bit interesting in this game, innit? If this is Scarf, then I could probably get something on it. As unintuitive as it sounds, I think I'm actually going to go Gastly here. They'll probably go for a fire move. And if they are Choice Scarf, I guess they could miss. I'm going to go for Will-O-Wisp. Oh no, in case they're not Choice Scarf, I'll go for Sludge Bomb. As they are Choice Scarf, right. So now what we can do is go into my Shellder here. And I'm just going to go for the Rock Blast to go Skiddo. Now I could have Shell Smashed up, and then the Skiddo probably would have been dead. But I didn't really feel like that was good play because it could go Nimble afterwards and my Shellder would be dead. So I need to be able to get a safe time for me to Shell Smash up, which means that Nimble is dead. So hopefully I can trap it at some point with Diglett. Alright. At this point I can go for Low Sweep. And now I will just Iron Head, as I think that'll take this out. Interesting, they're special. If I'd have low sweeped there again, I would have been in a really good position. Okay. So usually these are special, but if I can just sack this here, then I can go into my Diglett now, and they might have Sucker Punch on this, but even if they do, it hopefully won't do too much. Oh, is there Grass Era? Interesting. Alright. And they're not Sucker Punch. So now they can't Terastallize anything. This also makes me much weaker to Nimble as a result. Okay, so now we're going to just sack this, I suppose. Go for Sludge Bomb. I'm going to go into my Crabrawler, rather, and just go for Drain Punch. They don't have anything that can switch into this. And if they decide to sack their Houndour, now they don't have a Houndour anymore. And they didn't do anything to me, right? They had a 30% chance for a poison. That was about it, as far as they could have gone. Ooh, Spark, going for the para. I can respect it. And now they'll go for a flinch with Waterfall. It means I actually need to switch out into Shellder. They went for Earthquake, not Waterfall. Alright. I thought they would have gone for Earthquake or Waterfall there to get a flinch. Barboach. Barboach versus Shellder. I'm not +2. We're not Rock type. 19% minimum. So yeah, Ice Shard is fine. That's what I thought. But unfortunate they didn't go for that. But I'll take it. Now Nimble comes out. I will just Rock Blast here. I don't have anything for it otherwise. And now I can go Crabrawler and just Drain Punch. A U-turn. And Crabrawler is a little bit annoying for the Nimble, I think. I can Terastallize, but it doesn't really get me anything, I don't think. And then because I'm just neutral to the hiss no matter what, right? I'll just Drain Punch on their first impression if I can. They will probably Leech Life, that makes a lot of sense. And I think that's game right there. Because I got paralyzed. If I hadn't gotten paralyzed, we would have beaten the Nimble 1v1. But that's unfortunate. Alright, good game to my opponent. Okay. And now we're facing down a team with another Dratini. Very interesting. We got 2 of those in today's video, and a Wattrel, which apparently has been doing a lot better as of recently. I've been a big Wattrel fan since day one, but apparently people are just now realizing that it's a good Pokemon. You could say that it wasn't good in Giraffe meta, but how much was good in Giraffe meta? Giraffe was oppressive. So, Shellos is a little bit annoying, not gonna lie, but if I can get a Shell Smash up with my Shellder, it should be okay. Now, Pawniard's an interesting Pokemon because if I burn the Pawniard with my Gastly, then that makes it prime real estate for Shellder to set up. That's the idea. I do have to deal with Dratini, however, before I can make that happen. And I also could Terastallize to kill the Toedscool, but then I can't Terastallize my Shellder, which makes it a lot harder to break Shellos. But we'll see what ends up happening. I'm going to lead off with Diglett in case they lead off with Wattrel, which happens a lot of times. And I can just Rock Blast here. And they can switch out if they want to, but that's fine with me. They can either go into Toedscool, and then I might decide to trap it, just because Toedscool is quite annoying. Or I could always switch out as well. And they may not want to switch out, but they decide to. I'm actually going to Protect here. Just in case they decide to Terastallize. They go for Knockoff, which is okay. I'm gonna go Crabrawler here. On the Giga Drain, they didn't even knock off. Well, that's nice of them to do that. And I'm gonna Ice Punch. It will do more to the Wattrel, and of course it'll kill the Toedscool. If they go Shellos, that's fine by me, because I actually would like them to go Shellos. And if they go Pawniard, that's not a threat at all. Yeah, so the reason why... Oh, good. So they're giving me some damage on the Shellos. I'm gonna go Shroodle here. They could Earth Power, but they decide not to. I'm actually going to click the Knockoff here to get rid of the Eviolite on Wattrel, and they won't kill me. I've seen that interaction before. Now we'll Gunk Shot, and that kills the Wattrel. So Strudel is really good. It has a really good speed tier of 18. And here we will go into Pawnyard, just like we did last time. I don't think they would have gone for the Dragon Dance or the Waterfall there because I could have knocked them off. So Extreme Speed was pretty obvious as a play. And now I'm definitely going to go for the low sweep. It kills Crabrawler's speed, and now I can go into Gastly. They could Zen Headbutt, predicting that. That is a play that can be made. But I am EV Light Gastly, and this allows me to burn something. As they do go for Thunder Punch, which is a fine play as well. No, go for Thunder or Ice Punch on the switch in. It's a lot of times all you can do with that Mon. Okay, we land our Will-O-Wisp, which is perfect for what we want to do. So now we want to go into Strudel and click Knock Off again. This will either knock your Scarf off, which it may be. It doesn't. Okay, so a lot of times Choice Scarf runs that. That's okay. Now I'm going to go for a U-turn just in case they let me. And actually, at this point, I'm going to go Crabrawler. I can bulk up in your face. It looks like my opponent doesn't want to switch out. It's sort of funny. And this is especially good because if I can get a lot of damage off on the Shellos, then I will take it. At this point, I don't think I'll get any better returns than that. So +2/+2 is already scary enough. No need to get greedy and get crit. Now they go Toadstool, and I'm just going to Drain Punch again. They are Scarf Toadstool. Or no, that's just a speed tie, I forgot. I forgot that's a speed tie. Okay. And they won both speed ties, but it is what it is. That was their last real threat, because Dratini's not a threat in any way, shape, or form. And the Life Orb, so I bet I can kill with Drain Punch. Extreme Speed's not going to do jack. Yeah. I could have gone for Ice Punch, but since the Life Orb, they're not EV Light, they're a lot less of a threat defensively. And yeah, okay, so we got some of our points back from that previous game. We didn't get to go into Shellder, but Crabrawler is definitely a threat. Now, as pertains to Gastly, Gastly's getting suspect tested, and a lot of people are saying the general consensus is Gastly will get banned. But I really don't want Gastly to get banned for a few reasons. One of the reasons is this guy right here. I think Crabrawler is a very good Pokemon, and I think it's only going to get better with Gastly gone. You don't have to run Zen Headbutt anymore at all, and you can focus on your 3 punches, or you can run Earthquake like this one is, or so many other things. And I don't think that Gastly is that bad in the metagame. That's just my personal opinion. I know it's a very good Pokemon, but I don't think it's the overwhelming monster that some people make it out to be. They also say it makes things like Shellder really good, but I would also say that Gastly is also something that stops Shellder because you can run Scarf Gastly, which still outspeeds non-Jolly Shellder at +2. And so it actually becomes one of the best checks to Shellder if you're running Scarf. And then finally, I also think that Gastly is not that great of a Pokemon in a lot of metagames, and once we get DLC, if they told us, hey, we're going to resuspect Gastly once DLC comes out, then, you know, a couple months without it, and then it can come back, that's okay. But I really don't even think it's that bad. It is hard to deal with, but there are things for it, and I don't think it's as bad as people are saying it is. But you can see how we said in the previous game that I can Will-O-Wisp, and then I can Shell Smash with Shellder, and then that's pretty automatic, just 1-2 punch. And if that's a problem, then I think Shellder is actually what needs to go. All right, so this is the same person we fought before, except for now they've added a Meowth over whatever the heck was here before. I'm going to lead off with Diglett, because Diglett deals with the Meowth lead, if they want to go with that. I can also go into Pawnyard on the Meowth, if I so desire. It also deals with Venonat, if I hit Rock Blast this time. So Pawnyard and Diglett deal with Meowth. Diglett and, to a lesser extent, like, I don't know, Crabrawler, maybe, and Shellder deal with the Venonat. They do lead off with Meowth, which is fine. Now, sometimes people know that you go for Protect turn 1 here, and then they go for Feint. We'll see if my opponent decides to make that play. As they go for Feint, yep, good job to my opponent. So I'll go into Pawnyard here, go for Feint again. And now I can just go for the low sweep. That way they can't trap me with Diglett. Low sweep is such a fantastic option on Pawnyard. To go Growlithe, which also makes a lot of sense. On Growlithe, I'm not sure what this Growlithe does because we didn't get to see it last time. I'm gonna go into Strudel on it because I don't really need Strudel in this game too much to go for Will-O-Wisp. Yeah, and I didn't want anything getting burned. The other reason I'd like to keep Gastly around is because it's one of the few good special attackers in the tier right now. There's so many physical attackers, and I just feel like certain Pokemon would get really annoying without it. Let's go for the Gunk Shot as we fail in that endeavor, unfortunately. This is a very weird set. Will-O-Wisp, Flame Charge, and then what? I'm not sure. Okay. I'm gonna go Crabrawler, and then I'm Terra Fire, and I will Terra Fire here. So now I'm gonna bulk up. Actually, nah, that's not a good play. That's a bad play. Then I just get trapped by Diglett. Gonna go into the Gastly now on the Will-O-Wisp. That's fine. Probably should have just gone into it originally, but well, what are you gonna do? Okay, Sludge Bomb time. They don't have anything for Sludge Bomb. They had Psychic Fangs. What a weird Growlithe set. Will-O-Wisp, Flame Charge, Psychic Fangs. I can respect it. Will-O-Wisp definitely prevents a lot of the physical attackers from coming in and abusing you. And I definitely could have set up on it with my Crabrawler. But like I said, I didn't want to get just automatically trapped by Diglett. And here comes the Diglett, speaking of. I'm going to go and... I'm actually going to sack my own Diglett. Doesn't do anything at this point. And now I can go into my Strudel and click Parting Shot. They may be tempted to stay in. They probably will stay in. Because what am I doing here, right? They outspeed me. They went for Shadow Claw. I didn't even notice that. That's sort of weird. I guess that's for the Gastly. And they're Protect on their own, which explains as well as to why they went for Faint turn 1, because they're thinking in the same mindset of having Protect on Diglett. Well, that's good, because that probably means they don't have Sucker Punch. And they may have Terra Blast, which would mean no Stealth Rock. But now I can actually go into my Crabrawler here. Oh, they do have Stealth Rock, okay. So now I'm just going to bulk up. And then as I go Venonat, and now I can click the Earthquake on you. You don't have an Agility up. So they can go for the Sleep Powder if they want. Let's see if they land. They do. A bit annoying. Interesting they're electing to use their Venonat as the check to this. But it is what it is. Alright. Do I save this? I don't know. Maybe not. I'm gonna go for Ice Punch here. As I get off some chip. Okay. And then they can go for Sleep Powder again, but I really don't think they will. They should just go for Leech Life always there, yep. Now I'm gonna go into Shellder. It says Tinted Lens, but Shellder still has really good defenses. So like, what are you doing against me? Because whatever base damage Venonat can do is all the base damage Venonat will do. Unfortunately, they missed their Sleep Powder there. That is why Sleep Powder is a bad move. And it comes with the territory. You know, 1 out of 2 is pretty average, since the base rate is 70. Alright, so they can't really go into Toad School. And Meowth is technically a thing they could go into. But I have my Pawniard at more or less full health. So that's not that big of a deal. And their Diglett is full health though, so I don't have to be worrying about that. I'm going to actually sack my Strudel just for positioning. They do go for Fake Out. Now I can go Pawniard here, and I can go for the Low Sweep. That will really hurt Meowth. It may kill them. And then if they go Diglett on me, then I will be outspeeding them in the subsequent turns. If they go into Toad School, I can try to go for a flinch or something. Alright, yeah. So they go into Diglett, now I outspeed them, and I can go for the Stab Iron Head, and that will kill them. I really like this Low Sweep tech. We were running Brick Break at the beginning of this generation, but I like this a lot more. Now, in theory, I can actually Terrasilize into a Flying type, but I don't think that's particularly strong. I think it's better to go... Well... I'm not really sure what the best play is here. I'm just going to stay in and sack this. They went for knockoff, and I outsped them. I was not expecting that. Alright, well I will just Ironhead now. See if I can get a flinch. Nope. That's okay. Now, because I outsped them previously when they went for knockoff, I'm not terribly concerned about them staying in. So I actually beat the Toad School 1v1 with Pawnyard, which is not something you'd expect to do normally. And now at this point, I am going to actually... man, what do I do against this? Alright, so Voltorb is annoying, of course. I'm just going to Sucker Punch. Okay, they're definitely just going to Thunderbolt here. And then... I'm going to Rock Blast with Shellder as I Terra Rock. I think maybe I should have sacked my... I missed. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. Alright, so I'm just going to forfeit here. Because that game is lost. Alright, so I probably shouldn't have sacked my Pawnyard anyway. If I was going to risk the Rock Blast, what I should have done is I should have sacked my Gastly and then preserved my Pawnyard. Then you go into the Shellder, you Terra Rock, you hit the Rock Blast and kill it, and then the Meowth comes out and can't deal with the Pawnyard. That's what I should have done. So I misplayed anyway, even without the Rock Blast, the miss, because if they would have killed me, I'd have been at really low health with my Shellder. I would not have had my Pawnyard, and then Bite would have killed off my Gastly anyway, so the game was already over at that point. Alright, there we go. Okay, so our opponent has a pretty slow team overall. Gastly is a Pokemon I haven't seen in quite some time. And Grimer is a little bit annoying, as always. There's definitely a team that I think I should be able to burn Pawnyard and then sweep it with Shellder. So I think that's going to be a win condition. I can also burn Quaxly, and I'll probably bring Gastly in on Quaxly, just so it doesn't get a rapid spin off and then sweep everything. I think as the lead, I'm going to lead off with Strudel, just to scout, see what my opponent wants to do. Now, you can always try knocking off Shellos, but I'm going to Parting Shot here, because I don't think that they will have Storm Drain. They should have Sticky Hold. People are putting in Pawnyard on Strudel like it's going to do something, but even though it blocks my Parting Shot, it's fine, because I'd rather just knock you off anyway. Now I'm going to go into Brawler. They go for that. That's alright. Now I'm going to bulk up on the Grimer. I actually have Earthquake for the Grimer. Nobody's expecting the Earthquake on the Grimer. And I will now Drain Punch, just to get some health back. Getting rid of the Grimer is fantastic for me. Now they're probably going to protect with their Teddiursa, I should think. Then get their Quick Feet activated. But actually, in case they don't, I think I should probably just Drain Punch. Yeah, right there. Thank goodness I didn't make that play. Okay. So I would have protected, so I could have gotten my Quick Feet, and then gone for Stab Facade or something, but they went for Close Combat instead, which is not as strong. So I'm not really sure what my opponent was doing there. But it looks like they're pretty low on the ladder, so I guess that makes sense. Oh, good. That one was fast, at least. Alright, this looks like a real team, I think. So they have a Wattrel and maybe a lead. They also have Bramblin. So this may also be one of those weird Tailwind abuse teams. Not quite sure. And then they have the rest of a pretty standard team. Same stuff I've got on my team. We'll lead off with Diglett. It will be decent against Wattrel and Pawnyard. But they actually lead off with the Brawler. I'm going to go into my Gastly, as is pretty standard. They go for Ice Punch, as that's a good play. And I will go for the Will-O-Wisp. It can always Terra Fire, but getting this burned is great. And now we just Hex. And that is going to do way too much damage to Brawler. I can't believe they actually went for that. Hex is a fine follow-up play. Gets them chip off on Pawnyard. And really what we want... Whoa! Whoa! Why was that the switch in? I don't know why that was the switch in. Uh-huh. Do I want to save the Gastly? I do, because I want to get the Pawnyard burned. Once the Pawnyard is burned, then my Shellder sweeps, I think. At this point, what I don't really need is my Diglett. So if they decide to go for an electric move, we're fine. If they decide to go for Hurricane, we're also fine. Because now I can go into Strudel and make the same series that I did before. Now, of course, their electric moves are freed up, but I'm not too concerned about the Wattrel. Wattrel's not that good of a Pokemon overall, in my opinion. Showing a knockoff means they're probably not going to go Pawniard that turn, so you can always follow it up with a Gunk Shot. And if they do, then it's fine, because I do want to knock it off anyway. Some Gastlys are in Psychic, which is really cool tech, but this particular person doesn't. Okay, so their team is pretty scary, but they don't really know what they're doing. That's one of the reasons to run Strudel on this team. Not only does Strudel give you Parting Shot support and knockoff support, and his base 18 speed, but it's also normal type, which doesn't care about Gastly other than the random Psychic Gastlys that sometimes roll around. And it's a speed tie at best for the Gastly, so Strudel's not too bad in the current metagame. Alright, I'm going to lead off with my Diglett. They could lead off with the Voltorb, or the Tink, or even Toedscool, I suppose. Rogunk, I suppose, is also an option. Against a lot of those Pokemon, what you want to do is protect, maybe not Tink, but the other three. Because if they Terastallize, you want to know what they're going to Terastallize into. Drifloon is interesting, because normally Rock Blast really doesn't make Drifloon happy. But I fought an Endure weakness policy Drifloon on the ladder, and they kept on wrecking me with that. So hopefully they're not that particular set. Finally found ourselves another game. So my opponent has double fire types in Fuecoco and Larvesta. They also have the Sandile. Sandile and Larvesta can both be Choice Scarf. Usually Sandile, I think, would be in this instance. They could have double Scarf though. They also have a Quaxly, so we'll watch out for that. Normally Fuecoco is a bit of an issue for this team because you don't want to be burned, and it can Terastallize, so even though you can trap it with your Diglett, it can just tear water and kill you. And also Sandile as a Choice Scarf user is a bit interesting because that really shuts down the Strudel, because I can't Parting Shot on it, and you can of course Earthquake me, so I have to watch out for that. But besides that, if I can burn the incoming Sandile, which probably won't come in on me, then I can set up on it with the Shellder, and I can set up on it burnt Quaxly as well, which I think is probably the best option. And once I've set up, we should be able to sweep, assuming we get the knockoff on the Fuecoco. Otherwise, it's unaware, and I won't be able to kill it, especially if it's Terastallized. Okay, so as a lead, I don't really know what the best lead is in this case. I think I am going to lead off with Strudel. I decided to lead off with a Sandile. Fortunately, we're not trapped, so I'm just going to have to hard switch, because I'm predicting them to be Choice Scarf, and I can't U-turn on the Choice Scarf, and I can't Parting Shot because it's a Dark type, so we got the lead wrong. But if they let off with Larvesta or with their own Diglett, then we would have been in a lot better position. As is, I'll just go into my Pawniard, eat the Earthquake. I'll probably go for Bulk Up on the Larvesta. I'll actually go for Crunch, which is a bit of an interesting play. Yeah, I'm going to go for Bulk Up here. I can get a... Now, first of all, Bulk Up will let me scout a bit as to how my opponent wants to play around this. And actually, I think... Let's look at Quaxly against Crabrawler. So this Quaxly here, at +3, it's a roll to kill. So I feel like what I want to do is I actually want to Bulk Up again on the Terrafire, because Terrafire really just beats Larvesta 1v1. And if I can keep bulking up, then we should be okay. And I can just Drain Punch here, and they're going to do a lot of damage, but I'll Drain Punch it back because I'm +3 defense. And the Diglett's the same story here. They could Terra Flying, but why is the Diglett slower than I am? I don't understand that. Now finally what's interesting is the Fuecoco can't burn me, and I am Terra... I have Earthquake for Fuecoco specifically. Alright. Here I can just Drain Punch, because what are you going to do to me? And that'll get me back up to full health. I go for Zen Headbutt again. That's okay. Alright, well there you go. Alright, and we're facing this person again. This time I think I'm gonna lead off with the Strudel. If they decide to go into Gastly, and that's fine. Here I'm going to U-turn. I want to keep this around. And I'm going to U-turn into my Crabrawler, because I don't think the Crabrawler cares too much about what Toadscool can do. I could be wrong though. But I don't want... Well, actually, I guess I can let Gastly go to sleep. They go for Toxic Spike. Not expecting that. And actually, I think I'm just going to go for Sludge Bomb at this point. That actually does not kill, which I was expecting it to, not going to lie. Finally, the other good thing about Strudel is that it does absorb Toxic Spikes. I forgot to mention that. So Gastly is a poison type, is fine. But even though it does have Levitate, which is great in a lot of situations, it also loses the ability to play Toxic Spikes. Okay. At this point, Diglett is going to come out and be annoying. So I'm just going to have to stay in and let myself go down. Except for they go for Stealth Rock, which is a very interesting play. I was not expecting that as a play. So they can go Meowth if they want, but I can just go into Pawniard. And if they go into Voltorb, that's alright as well. Voltorb is actually a bit of an issue for me. I'm going to go Strudel here and get rid of the T-Spike. And then take the Thunderbolt. Then I will Parting Shot here. Always, I think. And I'm actually going to Parting Shot into my Diglett. A bit of a risky play. But since they didn't Terastallize this turn, hopefully they didn't go for a raw Terra Blast. They do go for Thunderbolt. Now I'm going to Protect and see what they want to do. They go for Terra Ghost. I've not seen a Terra Ghost yet. Very interesting. Alright. So at this point, I actually think I'm just going to Earthquake as they sack their Toadscool, which is fine by me. So now we have all 6 of our Pokemon and they're down to 4. They still have the Voltorb, which is annoying. And they have the Venonat, which has been annoying in the past. And they also have used their Terra up. I'm going to go for Rock Blast again, and this time we're not going to miss. 1, 2, 3. 3 hits, I'll take it. They go for Leech Life. That kills me, and they get back a lot of health. I'm not going to lie, that is quite a lot of health. But at this point, I should be safe to go into... Shellder? Or maybe Gastly. Let's see. What does the most? Well, I don't know what does the most. Level 5 Venonat. Because Venonat's not in the calc apparently. X apparently does a lot, but that's not without Eviolite. 31%, which is not going to kill. If I were Shadow Ball, Life Orb, it would do a lot more, of course. And the Voltorb is interesting. Actually, I think I do want to not go Shellder because they have Giga Drain. Okay. I'll go with that. Go Pawniard here as they go into probably their Growlithe. I think is probably what they would end up doing here. I'm just going to Iron Head anyway because they may decide to stay in. And if they do, that's okay. In fact, that's more than okay because now I can follow it up with a low sweep because I got the flinch. So we're getting a little bit luckier in this game as I did in previous ones. But that's great. And we're also playing around the Venonat a bit better, I think. Ooh, okay, so at this point, the Voltorb is still a major issue, but my Pawniard's still healthy for the Meowth. And if they go into Growlithe, I will be low sweeping it. So that's fine. At this point, Okay, the Venonat's gone. So yeah, they're probably going to go Growlithe here. I think I want to use my Shellder for Growlithe specifically. They can burn me, that's okay. I just don't want them to flame charge up and then be annoying. Just gonna go for Liquidation. I think that's probably the stronger play against Growlithe. Actually, let's check. Growlithe, Little Cup, and Shellder. So yeah, you can see Rock Blast is a lot more, but Liquidation is a bit more reliable, so we're just gonna go for Liquidation. Liquidation can get defense drops, which I think is the main thing we're gonna be concerned with here. Yeah, and they are Morning Sun. That was a nice crit. And if I ever get a defense drop, then they're in trouble, right? And they don't really want to bring Shellder out on this either. And I'm actually going to Shell Smash up since they seem to want to be stalling me out. Which is a bit of a weird play because a +1 speed, I believe I will outspeed you. And now I can just Rock Blast, right? So what did they get out of that play? Of stalling me out? Not a ton, I don't think. 3, 4, and it doesn't look like I'm gonna kill here, but that's all right. Go for Psychic Fangs. I'm just gonna liquidate it again because we don't want to miss. And obviously Meowth is gonna come out, but I'm burned at this point. It doesn't really matter because the Growlithe is gone. So at this point, the Pawniard has a fantastic matchup. Right? So I'm just going to go for the Liquidation. They're obviously going to fake out and kill me there. That's okay. And at this point, Crabrawler punishes them more than the Pawniard would. Normally, I go into Pawniard defensively on Meowth, but Pawniard allows the Voltorb to come in a lot better, I think. Of course, it's Ghost type now, so I could just Sucker Punch it. But Crabrawler means I get a Drain Punch immediately. Or Earthquake is probably... I guess... No. Because they're Ghost type, so I would just Earthquake probably. So yeah, my opponent forfeits. There we go, that's a bit better. I'm gonna call it here. It's been a pretty slow day on the ladder. I've been testing this team all week, and it does a really good job. I got pretty high on the ladder on one of my alts, and Gastly plus Shellder is a pretty strong combination. But I would say that the sweeping potential of that is mostly due to Shellder and not due to Gastly. I could probably replace this Gastly with Drifloon or another Will-O-Wisp Pokemon and get a similar level of results. For instance, does Greavard get Will-O-Wisp, I want to say? Of course, it's not levitating, but it has that fluffy ability, which is really nice. And I think that there are a few other Pokemon that could also facilitate Shellder sweeps. Of course, Gastly is a problem because it's very fast, but it's like one of the 3 special attackers left in the tier, at least besides Toadscool, which is nice. But a lot of times Toadscool isn't running special attacks. And Voltorb is generally considered to be not that great. But that's just my opinion on the matter. And I do expect Gastly to be banned, and I will totally respect and understand that decision. I'm not going to probably get Rex because I have other things I want to do besides just ladder all day. But that's going to be the end of Gastly probably for the foreseeable future in the Little Cup tier. Hopefully it comes back at some future point. But that'll be it for me today. I'll catch you guys next time.